The marks aren't gone, are they?
No, I can still see the scar. Could you please go over that story again?
Oh, it's all very complicated, but I don't want to cause any more trouble. I promised Mr. Desmond I wouldn't talk about it.
Good for Mr. Desmond.
But the fact remains, he saved my life.
What? By almost choking you to death?
No, what a silly thing to say. By sparing me. You see, we all but saved each other's lives.
Are you sure you have the right house, Miss Pruitt? I mean, my cousin isn't in the habit of choking young ladies.
I wouldn't be sure.
And what are you saying?
Oh, I'm not saying anything. I promised Mr. Desmond I wouldn't talk about it.
Well, then I'd keep closer to your promises.
If you pick on me, I won't like you.
And I wouldn't like that very much. But you see, we're not going to be seeing much of each other.
Oh, I think we will. This can't be the wrong house. Otherwise, why would I feel so at home here?
Who are you? What are you doing here?
I've answered so many questions this morning.
Is this another of your doxies, Court?
No, I thought she was one of yours.
I am not a doxy. You'd better tell him who and why and so forth.
I think you had better tell him nothing.
What are you saying?
Mr. Desmond, I think, would be very unhappy with you.
I'd like to know what's going on here. What is all this talk of Mr. Desmond? Do you know Philip Desmond? Is that why you're here, to make trouble?
I didn't even know there was a Philip Desmond. Besides, I'm not allowed to answer any questions.
Then please leave, Miss...
Pruitt, Agatha Pruitt.
She has the little dressmaking shop down in the village.
Well, my wife doesn't need any dresses at the moment, Miss Pruitt, so I must ask you to leave.
Should I?
That's up to you. But if you're expecting Jean-Paul, I'd advise you to stay here.
Jean-Paul?
Yes, I agree.
What has this girl to do with Jean-Paul?
How about some tea? I'd like to speak to you out in the hall.
They're really very nice. Some of them. But I don't like the older one, do you, Peter? I think without the older one, we could be very happy here. Don't you think so, Peter?
Whatever Jean-Paul's business is, it has nothing to do with you.
Everything that happens in this house is my business.
Oh, at least you'd like to think it would be.
I'm going to see that girl.
You're not going to see her at all.
Take your hands off me before I knock you down.
Laszlo, Court! What are you doing?
It seems your son wants to take command of Desmond Hall.
That's not true. I'm only protecting Jean-Paul. But when I take command of Desmond Hall, it'll be for a lot stronger reasons than this.
Please, stop it, both of you.
So?
And I would like to tell you, Mother, that I can't stop it. I can't stop it. Because he has no business getting in Jean-Paul's private matters.
Oh, now you're protecting Jean-Paul, are you? I find that surprising, since you defend nobody but yourself.
Laszlo, I can't stand these arguments. And I won't take them.
What did you say, my dear Ada?
I said I won't take this attitude anymore from you or from Court.
Well, I'm afraid you have no choice. I will deal with this young man as I see fit, and nobody will stand in my way. Not even you. Court, where are you going?
I'm going to find Jean-Paul. Something happened last night, and I want to find out what it is. But you two can continue the argument. It's so glad to see Mother out of her unhappy state. And I have a feeling that if the argument gets any more fierce, she's going to have to save me the task of killing you myself. So goodbye.
Come back here.
On whose orders?
Mine. You're my son. And I want you as well as Laszlo to hear this. All my life, I've lived in the shadows, loving people and serving them, suffering when they were angry, and afraid, always afraid. And I'm tired of that. Last night, when I lay alone in my bed, the fog blanketing the window and the dogs howling in the woods, knew surely that cruelty and hatred are crawling in Desmond Hall, consuming us all. And I will not put up with it. You see, I've been living in the past, wasting my time, living for innocent days that will no longer return. And all the time, evil like a snake has been crawling in your hearts, both of you. Look at me, Laszlo, Kurt. Destroy each other if you will, but I am out of it.
I think you'd better go back to your quarters, my dear. You don't know what you're saying.
I think she does.
Ada, do as I say.
No, Laszlo. Not anymore. I'm sorry, but not anymore.
We'll see about that.
Don't ever touch her again!
Enough! I've had enough!
Don't move!
Take your hands off me!
I thought you knew who had the more power, eh? Remember it for the future. Laszlo! Don't drive me to kill you because I have a terrible compulsion. So don't move. Don't move one step, or I'll give in to that compulsion. And when I kill you, it will be without any guilt or compunction. Because I know, dear stepfather, that you've committed some murders in your own time.
Court! Get away from him!
This is my business, no one else's.
You don't know what you're doing.
He's going to kill me.
Not yet. That would be too easy. Not yet.
Court, what is it? Look at me. Look at me. It's Emily.
Emily?
You didn't know what you were doing, did you?
He knew. He's a child of the devil like his father.
What about my father?
Your father was a weak and vicious man
Don't speak about...
who all but ruined your mother. And you are his son. Believe me, you are his son.
Kill him. Believe me. Someday I will kill him.
No, you won't. Court, you're angry because he came to Philip's secret room last night. You were right. I remember now. I took Laszlo to the room and I showed him the secret door.
Why?
I don't know. He forced me to do it somehow. Court, I know that Laszlo isn't a very nice man, but you must never threaten him again like that, ever. There is enough hatred already at Desmond Hall.
I thought I was removed. I forced myself to be removed from it all. From my stepfather, Jean-Paul and Philip. I thought I was the only one in the Desmond family that was free from it all. And now I'm obliged to kill.
Obliged? No one is obliged.
I am. I'm like Hamlet, Emily. I must obey the ghost of my father.
Peter? Peter, you mustn't be afraid. Peter, this is a very nice place, really. And it's wrong to run away.
Oh, you've already had your tea.
Oh, yes. It was very good tea. I guess I should have asked for some cake to go with it, but I didn't want to seem too demanding.
I'll get you some if you like.
No, actually, I'm very content. Oh, what could anyone need in this place? Although it's very noisy, there were some shouts outside the door.
Oh, I'm sorry. We had a rather long and trying night, and everyone's very upset.
Oh, it frightened Peter.
Peter?
Oh, I'm sorry. I talk too much. Peter is a friend, an imaginary one. Does that sound crazy? Well, it isn't. When you've lived alone for as long as I have, you need someone something, even if you have to imagine it.
I understand.
I think you do. Do you live here?
No, I'm a house guest, that's all.
I wish I were a house guest. You see, I left my mother and my father to live alone. I had to. They were witches.
Witches?
Yes. Oh, there are witches in Desmonton. They seem to be people like you and I, but they meet when the moon is full and do dreadful things and cause people to die. I couldn't live with witches. I try to be as good as I can and not to hurt people, which is why Jean-Paul Desmond liked me, I think.
I'm sure it was, Miss Pruitt.
You're a very kind person. So why don't you call me Agatha instead of Miss Pruitt?
Agatha.
There now, we're friends. I do have a friend, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Well then, will you come with me?
Where?
Come. It isn't far.
Agatha, I'd like to come with you, but
It's not far, really. It's just as far as the door. And my suitcase. You see, I'm staying here at Desmond Hall. Well, Jean-Paul Desmond wouldn't have it any other way.